There is a strange kind of fear spreading across the internet right now, and it has nothing to do with batteries catching fire or self-driving software making mistakes. It is quieter than that, almost invisible, and that is exactly what makes it so unsettling. Thousands of Tesla owners are scrolling through forums late at night, reading post after post that tells them their car might already be broken without them even knowing it. The culprit, according to these stories, is a single piece of metal hidden underneath the vehicle. And the question that keeps people awake is simple, but terrifying. What if one small mistake on the road quietly destroys the entire car? The piece of metal at the center of all this panic is something called the Gigacasting frame. Instead of building the underbody of a car from hundreds of small parts welded together, Tesla pours molten aluminum into a massive machine and casts the whole structure in one giant shot. It sounds futuristic, almost magical, and for a while it was celebrated as a breakthrough. But somewhere along the way, the conversation flipped completely. People started whispering that this single-piece design hides a dark secret, one that no dealership wants to talk about openly with a worried customer. The theory goes like this, and it is worth understanding exactly how it spreads. Owners are told that because the frame is one solid casting, it cannot bend and recover the way normal metal does. So if a driver hits one deep pothole on the highway or gets tapped from behind in slow traffic, tiny cracks supposedly form deep inside the aluminum. These cracks are said to be impossible to see with the naked eye, yet capable of silently weakening the entire structure of the car. The fear is not the crash itself, but the damage you can never detect until it is far too late. What makes this story so powerful is that it does not rely only on rumors and anonymous comments. It gets reinforced by serious-sounding numbers from the industry itself. A report from a company called CCC Intelligent Solutions has been passed around constantly, pointing to a figure that stops people cold. According to that data, vehicles built with a cast frame like the Model Y can cost around 52% more to repair than a traditional gasoline car. To a regular owner reading that, it feels less like a statistic and more like a warning shot aimed straight at their savings account. Now, here is where things get interesting, and where most people stop thinking and simply start panicking. That 52% figure is real as a data point, but the way it gets used online is heavily argued and shaped to scare you, stripped of all the context that would actually explain it. Owners imagine their car turning into worthless scrap metal after one bad day on the road, written off by an insurance company without a second thought. The frightening part is not whether the number is true. The frightening part is what nobody is explaining about why that number looks the way it does. And that is exactly where the real story begins to unravel. To understand why that repair number looks so alarming, a person has to step back and look at how the internet is judging this technology in the first place. Almost everyone analyzing gigacasting is using an old, last-century way of thinking about metal, the same mindset people have applied to cars since the days when frames were bolted and welded together piece by piece. They picture cast aluminum the way they picture a cheap metal toy or an old engine block, something rigid and brittle that snaps under pressure. But the material sitting underneath a Model Y was never meant to be understood through that outdated lens, and that single misunderstanding is where the whole panic falls apart. The aluminum used in these castings is not the ordinary kind found in a soda can or a patio chair. Tesla has said it developed a specialized alloy designed to be poured and shaped without needing the usual heat treatment process that normally makes cast metal hard but fragile. The claim circulating widely is that this alloy was refined alongside engineers connected to the rocket world, built to survive extreme stress. That specific origin story is presented confidently online, but it should be treated as a claim rather than a confirmed fact. Because the deeper truth lies in how the metal actually behaves rather than where it supposedly came from. The behavior is the part that flips the entire fear on its head. Picture one of those heavy industrial rubber blocks you see mounted on big trucks or construction machines, the kind designed to take a brutal hit and bounce right back. That is closer to how this frame is meant to respond to impact. Press your finger hard into a piece of old cast iron and it will crack or snap because it has no give. The Gigacasting frame is engineered to do the opposite, flexing under sudden force, absorbing the shock, and returning toward its original shape instead of shattering like a sheet of glass. There is also a hidden layer of design that makes the comparison even more striking, and it borrows directly from nature. Engineers shaped the underbody using a pattern of internal ribs inspired by the bones of birds, which are hollow and lightweight, yet remarkably strong. Woven together, these ribs form something like a dense honeycomb spread across the bottom of the car. When a heavy impact strikes, the force does not slam into one weak point. It spreads outward through this web of supports, and the claim is that this structure can neutralize as much as 90% of the energy before it ever threatens the core. That 90% figure deserves the same honesty as everything else, because it is a number repeated with great confidence yet difficult to independently verify. Still, the underlying engineering logic holds up even without the exact percentage. A structure that distributes force across a woven network behaves nothing like a single brittle slab waiting to crack. So while the internet pictures a fragile shell ready to crumble, the actual design is chasing the opposite goal entirely. And understanding that goal reveals something far more deliberate about why Tesla built the car this way in the first place. That deliberate goal is the piece almost everyone misses, because they keep asking the wrong question. People look at gigacasting and ask how easy it is to fix after a crash, when the engineers who designed it were never trying to answer that question at all. Their entire mission was built around a completely different idea, one that sounds almost stubborn at first. They were not trying to make the car simpler to repair once it broke. They were trying to build a structure so strong from the very beginning that it would not break in the first place, erasing the need for many repairs altogether. This is a strange shift in thinking, and it helps to slow down and really sit with it. For more than 100 years, cars have been built around an unspoken assumption that damage is inevitable. Frames were welded from many pieces, partly because, when something bent or cracked, a shop could cut out the damaged section and weld in a new one. The whole industry quietly accepted that cars would get hurt and need patching, and it designed everything around that reality. Repairability was treated as a feature precisely because breakage was treated as a certainty. Tesla approached the problem from the opposite direction, almost flipping the logic upside down. Instead of asking how to make the inevitable damage cheaper to fix, the engineers asked how to make that damage far less likely to happen at all. A single massive casting removes hundreds of welds and joints, and every weld is a potential weak point where stress can concentrate and failure can begin. By pouring the structure in one continuous piece, they were chasing a kind of strength that a bolted-together frame simply cannot match, trading old-fashioned flexibility for raw structural integrity. This is why the comparison to traditional manufacturing matters so much, and why so many people feel uneasy without quite knowing why. What Tesla is really challenging here is the entire fix-it-when-it-breaks mindset that has defined the automobile since the days of Henry Ford and his assembly line. That old philosophy assumes a car is a collection of replaceable parts destined to wear, dent, and fail over time. The gigacasting philosophy quietly rejects that, treating the core of the car less like a patchwork machine and more like a single engineered object meant to stay intact. It is also no accident that the rest of the industry is paying very close attention to this approach rather than dismissing it. If casting an entire underbody in one shot were truly an engineering disaster, rival manufacturers would happily ignore it and move on. Instead, major established automakers have been studying the same casting methods and racing to develop their own versions. That detail alone says a great deal, because companies do not chase a technology they believe is doomed. Yet building a car this way creates a ripple effect far beyond the factory floor. And that ripple lands hardest in a place owners feel every single month. That place is the insurance bill landing in the mailbox, and for many owners, it has become the most painful part of the entire experience. Across several states, drivers have watched their monthly premiums climb to levels that feel almost punishing, with some Model Y owners reporting jumps of $300 to $400 compared to what they expected. The explanation handed to them sounds reasonable enough on the surface. A one-piece cast frame, the carriers say, means that even a moderate hit could total the car, so the risk of paying out a massive claim is simply too high to ignore. But there is a more uncomfortable truth hiding behind that polished explanation, and it has little to do with the car actually being fragile. Traditional insurance giants built their entire pricing systems around the gasoline era, using formulas refined over decades of welded steel frames and predictable repair shops. When a radically different structure like Gigacasting arrives, those old formulas struggle to make sense of it. The companies cannot easily calculate the real risk, so instead of admitting that uncertainty, they default to the safest move available to them, which is charging far more and pushing the cost of their own confusion onto the customer. This is where the story takes on a more suspicious tone online, and it is worth being careful here. Some argue that Elon Musk engineered this entire situation on purpose, designing a car so advanced that legacy insurers would be left helpless and forced to price themselves out of the market. That framing treats the whole thing as a calculated checkmate, a deliberate move to suffocate these companies. It is an entertaining theory, but it remains speculation rather than proven intent. And it is wise to separate that dramatic narrative from the simpler explanation of an old system failing to adapt to something new. What is not speculation is how independent repair shops fit into this squeeze because their hesitation gets misread constantly. Many smaller garages simply do not have the specialized training, tools, or certification required to work safely on a large cast aluminum structure. So when they turn the car away, owners interpret it as proof that the vehicle is unfixable and doomed to the scrapyard. In reality, it often reflects a gap in training and access rather than a flaw baked into the car itself. Yet, that distinction rarely makes it into the panicked forum posts. The result is a strange standoff that leaves the owner stuck in the middle, paying the price for a technology the surrounding industry has not caught up to yet. The car is built around a future-facing manufacturing idea, while the insurance and repair world around it is still operating on rules written for a different century. That mismatch is exactly the pressure point that hurts wallets the most. And it is precisely the gap that Tesla decided it could fill itself, by building something the traditional players never offered in the first place. The something Tesla built to fill that gap is an insurance arm of its own, and it changes the entire shape of the problem. Rather than leaving owners at the mercy of outside carriers that cannot understand the car, the company created a system where it controls nearly every link in the chain at once. It manufactures the vehicle, gathers data from it, insures it, and repairs it, all inside a single connected ecosystem. This closes a loop that has been open and fragmented for the entire history of the automobile, where the maker, the insurer, and the repair shop were always three separate worlds that rarely spoke to each other. The way this insurance actually works is what sets it apart from anything the old carriers can easily offer. Because the car is filled with cameras and sensors, the system can observe real driving behavior mile after mile, instead of guessing risk from broad categories like age or zip code. A driver who brakes smoothly, keeps safe distances, and avoids reckless moves is rewarded directly, with premiums that can drop dramatically for those who consistently drive well. The claim is that careful drivers can see their monthly cost cut by a large margin, sometimes close to half, simply by behaving responsibly behind the wheel. This is a fundamentally different relationship between driver and insurer, and it flips an old frustration on its head. Under traditional models, a person could drive carefully for years and still watch their rates climb for reasons completely outside their control. Here, the data tied to the individual becomes the deciding factor, meaning the safe driver is no longer forced to subsidize the risky one sitting in the same pricing bracket. The car essentially becomes a witness that vouches for its owner, turning good habits into measurable savings rather than invisible effort that goes unrewarded. The repair side of this ecosystem follows the same logic of keeping everything in-house and tightly controlled. When a car is seriously damaged, the goal is to route it back into Tesla's own approved network, rather than scattering it across random garages with no cast frame experience. Within that network, the company can use factory original parts and standardized procedures, and the claim is that this can bring repair costs down meaningfully compared to the open market, sometimes by a noticeable percentage. Whether the exact figures hold in every case, the structural advantage of controlling parts and process is real. What emerges from all of this is a self-contained circle that the legacy industry simply was not built to compete with. The same company that designs the car also prices the risk, tracks the behavior, and performs the repair, with each piece feeding information back into the others. That tight integration is exactly why traditional insurers feel so threatened, because they are trying to compete against a system that knows the vehicle far better than they ever could from the outside. Yet understanding this big-picture strategy is only half the battle, because there are two very practical moves an owner must master to actually protect their own money. The first of those moves comes down to understanding how the system reacts the instant a claim is filed, because that single action sets off a chain reaction most owners never see coming. The insurance side runs heavily on automated calculations rather than a human adjuster walking out to inspect the car in person. So imagine a driver who lightly backs into a pole in a parking lot, leaving a scuff on the outer plastic bumper while the inner cast frame remains completely untouched. In a panic, that driver opens the app and files an official claim, assuming that is simply what responsible people do after any little bump. That instinct, however innocent, can quietly work against the owner in a way that feels almost unfair. The moment the claim is logged, the automated system treats it as a real risk event and recalculates that driver's profile accordingly. On the very next billing cycle, the premium can climb. Not because a mechanic examined serious structural damage, but because the digital record now shows a claim where none was truly necessary. The car was barely hurt, yet the financial footprint of that tiny scratch follows the owner forward, all decided by data rather than by anyone actually looking at the bumper. This is why a smarter habit exists for small cosmetic problems, and it is the kind of advice that quietly saves people real money. For a minor plastic scratch or a small dent that has nothing to do with the structure, it often makes far more sense to pause before tapping that claim button. Paying a few $100s out of pocket at an independent shop to handle a simple cosmetic fix keeps the insurance history clean and untouched. A spotless record is what secures the lowest possible rate over time, and protecting that record is entirely within the owner's control. The second move matters most in the rare event of a serious structural crash,